Aloha. Let's invite our friend here. Here she is. People starting to joining. Here she is, Andrea. Hello. Can you see that? I invited you. Now you just have to accept it, and you will appear in the screen. Here she is.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Hello, hello.
Thank you so
How's it
much
going?
for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This is like the first time I've ever gone live, so hello.
Yeah. So don't worry, it will be like super chill, super casual, like nothing too serious. We like to connect with new people, and I totally love what you're doing, and I just want to talk about how like our lives can be connected, with our type of work that we are doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. No, I know that we haven't really talked that much, so I was just trying to like check out your page a little
Uh-huh.
bit before hopping on here.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you are specializing in microdosing for people with
Uh-huh.
ADHD.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
awesome.
exactly it. Yeah, and this is because I do have ADHD, and I struggle a lot in my life, and I never wanted to get into meds, So I decided to find different ways that could help me, live like a more like quiet life, and
Hmm.
my caregiving has helped me like much. So now I'm like advocating like the use of psilocybin and LSD because I really believe those are really good tools to use and to really like have access to our true being.
Hmm. Okay. So
Yeah,
do you work majority with LSD then?
I didn't hear you. Can you repeat please again?
Oh, I was just asking if you work mostly with LSD then.
So myself, yes, I do use mostly like LSD because they have different like effects on your body and on your mind, and I found like LSD working better for me. However, like psilocybin can work awesomely, and I would suggest to do to everyone like the stomach protocol for the mushrooms, and then doing the Fadiman protocol for LSD. I think it's the best way to go through microdosing.
Hmm.
Yeah. How about you? Do you have any experience with microdosing?
Yeah. I have never tried to microdose with LSD, but I've been microdosing with psilocybin mushrooms pretty consistently for the last like 2 to 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's been really interesting to, yeah, I feel more connected in that way. It's really helped me with focusing
Yeah.
and creativity and also
Mm-hmm.
like sleeping better. I'm having way better sleeps, which I didn't really
Yeah.
expect.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it's been interesting. It's been a really good experience so far. But I would love to learn more about LSD and like how to actually
Yeah.
effectively microdose it because I don't actually know like how to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's super easy to be honest. It's easier with LSD than with psilocybin. But to be honest, like LSD, I think is slightly more aggressive than psilocybin because first of all, it lasts longer. So it may last up to 12 hours. So you might feel it, during like all the whole experience. While with psilocybin, you will feel it like for between 4 and 6 hours. So this is a big difference. And I would say if you have any problem like with sleeping, like probably like LSD doesn't help much. So
Hmm.
if someone has insomnia, it's much better to do psilocybin.
Hmm. Okay.
So this is how
Interesting.
I feel about it. To be honest, like It has been a bit more difficult for me when I do microdosing to fall asleep, particularly the same day. That's why it's better to take it like as soon as possible when you wake up. Let's say that day you decide to wake up earlier than usual, and then of course tend to go to sleep as late as usual in order to go back into this 12 hours loop where you would still have LSD in your body.
Mm, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
So what about you? Like, have you done like high doses of psilocybin?
Yeah, I actually started with high doses before I ever got into
Hmm.
microdosing.
Yeah.
Um, well, I first started like I guess my journey exploring with plant medicines with ayahuasca,
Hmm.
and I felt like I wasn't really getting exactly what I needed with
Hmm.
ayahuasca, and
Yeah.
I just started learning more about mushrooms and how they're like a heart opener and they really help you like get in touch with your emotions and
Yeah.
release. And I felt like that was really what I needed.
Hmm.
So I had like I didn't know anything at that point. I started like learning about Paul Stamets, Terence McKenna,
Yeah.
and just based on like what I found from Terence McKenna, where he said like you should take 5 grams by yourself in a small dark room. I was like, okay, like that sounds like a good idea. Um,
Uh-huh. You do that.
so that's essentially what I did, and
Uh-huh.
the first time I just cried the whole time, like start to
Uh-huh.
finish, I just cried for hours. And it was
Yeah.
amazing. Like it was clearly something that I really needed to do and
Hmm.
like let go and release. And this was all like during the pandemic as well. So I was by myself, like in my bedroom, doing these like really intense
Uh-huh.
trips. But I actually really enjoyed like being in such a safe space like that
Hmm.
because it was very comfortable. I had everything I needed. Like there's no energies that I'm having to deal with. Like it's just me. And uh,
Yeah.
yeah, so I found that really beneficial of just going straight for
Wow.
the 5 gram experiences. And it's not like I would recommend that to a beginner. Like I would not recommend that to someone who's never
Uh-huh.
dabbled in
Yeah.
psychedelics before. Uh,
Hmm.
but because I had that experience with ayahuasca and I had done mushrooms like as a teenager or whatever as well, so I just decided to go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, to be honest, there's a huge difference between, the 2 to 3 grams to the five. Like, it's a big difference. Also because, at least in my case, I've done 7 grams maximum of psilocybin. And I experienced the depth with 7 grams. However, with 2 to 3 grams, I never felt that. I felt like, still in love with nature, in love with myself, like enjoying the
Hmm.
visuals, which I loved. Like when I'm on mushrooms, I love the visual part.
Hmm.
But when you close your eyes and you do it like exactly what you said, it's completely different experience because you go inward and you can see the infinite that is within you and the infinite that there is anyway out there. And you
Hmm.
can still have access to these places that may not even exist in this reality. That's why
Hmm.
it's super cool, to do it the way Terence McKenna said. Like everything dark, eye closed, I would say even put like a blindfold. And maybe open your eyes after a while. Maybe you have to go to the toilet for sure. I drink lots of water when I'm on mushrooms, but yeah, you will still enjoy like some visions. You stand up and go to the toilet, like journey.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, and I've been trying to experiment more with those mid-range doses lately as well. Like recently, I've tried with 2.5, 3 grams, just
Mm-hmm.
to be able to compare. And
Yeah.
I agree. Like when with those a little bit lower doses, like you can still get a lot of insights. Like I feel like I'm constantly getting so many lessons and just direct downloads from the mushrooms no matter how much I take, really. But
Yeah.
yeah. the 5 grams is really when you're getting into that like dissolving the ego and
Mhm.
big life realizations. So, but it's
Yeah.
always a beautiful experience.
Yeah. So did you have the chance to actually integrate the experience that you had with these 5 grams? Like, did you record some insights, or did you, there was something that left with you that is still with you now after the journey?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's been so much that I'm trying to integrate. Like I definitely haven't integrated everything that I've learned, and I think a lot of it is kind of like lifelong
Mhm.
lessons integrating for years to come. Uh, and it's like an everyday practice, right? I mean, one of my first deep journeys with the mushrooms was a lot about like body acceptance, because I just that's always been one of my biggest issues is like, accepting my body
Mhm.
for how it is. And I know a lot
Yeah.
of other people struggle with that as well.
Mhm.
So it was, yeah, really about just realizing that like none of this actually matters. It's
Yeah.
it's it's just the vehicle that I get to like experience this life with. But
Uh-huh.
like the way that other people perceive what my body looks like has
Uh-huh.
no impact on me. Like it does not matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. And it doesn't define
Yeah.
my worth, and it shouldn't define like, yeah, how I see myself based on like the
Yeah.
perceptions of others. So that was kind of like a very mind altering moment for me. And I do feel like I've really been able to integrate that with
Mhm.
just, yeah, not focusing on the physical appearance and just focusing on like how I feel in my body,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
like using fitness to feel strong, but not to manipulate what I look like not to manipulate the size of my
Mhm.
body, just to feel, yeah, empowered.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And thank you so much for sharing this. One of the best insights that I had on psychedelics is the following. So basically, we do have like, an interpretation for every single thing that is happening in our life, for every single part that is going on. So then I think, why should we give the words like interpretation? Like, because the infinite interpretation can give something, right? Infinite. But then, like, what interpretation I would give them, and why do we give them the worst one? That is so crazy.
Mm.
And then I came up with the conclusion that we do that because we have traumas within us, and because of these traumas, we like automatically give away with the worst interpretations, and then like I went to study deep like about these traumas and things, and I found out that actually we've been traumatized since we were born. Like the very moment you are born, you start to be traumatized. In the hospital, when you are born, whatever the doctor says, whatever is going on there, is gonna basically bring downloaded in your brain. Even seeing all of these tools that doctors use and all of the other things, that is like affecting basically your trauma, so your personality. And that's so crazy when I realized that. It's like, okay, things are really like crazy, like how like things
Hmm.
in life. So, but that's interesting, that's super interesting.
Yeah, and I would actually say trauma starts before we're born. It starts when we're
Yeah.
in the womb, when we're gestating in our mother's womb, because whatever stress the mother has during
Yeah.
that 9 months of pregnancy, we
Uh-huh.
are also impacted that, and it's already starting to shape how we perceive the world, like before we're
Yeah.
actually brought into this life.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, trauma is really fascinating. I am learning a lot about this studying Gabor Mate's work,
Yeah.
and it's, yeah, exactly like you said. Like the traumas that we have change how we are able to perceive the world, and
Mhm.
whatever we interpret from a specific event, it has everything to do with us and not really about the actual reality.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because like we're not really perceiving reality, like we're perceiving like our version, which is impacted by all of our experiences and our beliefs. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's tricky because people really believe that like what they see as reality is the one true reality.
Hmm.
But that's just not the case. That's not the case.
Yeah, absolutely not. And now it's like our time now to create like our own reality and understand we've been creating. Also because if we talk also like in a universal level, like we are kind of vibrating in a frequency, and then in a way on the other, we are attracting exactly who we are. And that's so important to understand that when we have these emotions and these traumas are affecting like also the outcome will happen in our lives.
Hmm.
So I really say that it's really important to work on our traumas, like the most that we can. And you know, it's so easy to see traumas because every time like you feel bad, there's a trauma like showing up. It's a really good moment. I'm happy when I feel bad after like 2 weeks of feeling good. I'm so happy because I say, now things are coming up. And I say, okay, now I need to work on a few things. You know, that's a good moment. It's a good moment when things like comes up. I will feel like kind of bad, kind of sad, kind of frustrated. There's some triggers there, and we need to
Hmm.
understand what triggers that and what traumas we have, and how can we let this part of us talk,
Hmm.
be compassionate toward this part of us that is suffering.
Yeah.
Because why do we have to let it, just be there and not listening to it?
Hmm. Yeah, it's so true. I mean, we often think of our triggers as like character flaws or like negative things about us, like things that we don't want, but our triggers are really like golden nuggets of information for us to learn about ourselves and to, yeah, dig into and see like what actually happened and what did we make it mean when that happened? Like, what meaning did we draw from a certain experience? And,
Yeah.
when was the first time that we felt that? Like, where does it actually trace back to? Is that actually your thought or a thought that someone else like implanted in your mind like as a kid or
Yeah.
society or the church or whatever else, whatever other influence that you have coming into your mind. And yeah, it's just really like an archaeological dig of like getting into like the bottom and the root cause of where
Mhm.
these triggers come from so that we
Yeah.
can yeah, gain a better awareness. And then once we have that awareness,
Yeah.
we can make different choices. And that's really like where the power comes is realizing that we have the ability to respond in
Mhm.
each and every moment. Like every moment is an invitation to engage or not engage, to like show emotion or not. And
Mhm.
I think people have just been giving their power away for so long,
Yeah.
and like yeah, it's very ingrained in society as well to like not have boundaries and just want to people please and all of that. And healing is really about, yeah, the process of like taking your power back
Mhm.
and like honoring yourself, like keeping promises to yourself is such a big one that's
Yeah.
so important.
Yeah. 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 Also, it's really important. This, like, honestly, like keeping the world we say to ourselves, and also like really like getting the skill to really be self-compassionate. Really like
Mm-hmm.
let's say like someone like a friend of you like talks to you about how bad he feels, like you start to be compassionate, and you wouldn't think like
Mm-hmm.
how a bad guy this is, like right, you wouldn't do that. So why do we have to do it to ourselves? Why? So we have
Yeah.
to be like as self-compassionate like as we are with others, with ourselves all day long, because we're not perfect. We have some issues. We have some traumas. Like it's so normal to fuck up sometimes in life. Like we are not so perfect, and of course they see so this society out there. that makes you feel bad if you make mistakes. Like in school, right? Like in school, like you have to do everything right. Like if you don't do it, like you're gonna be punished, you're gonna get good grades, and you learn this process at school that making mistake is not allowed. So then we like feel so bad when we make mistakes. And I think mistakes are the best thing we can do because like we learn a lot. And I can tell you the most successful people have been failing a lot. So why I cannot fail that? Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Elon Musk has been failing a lot. Richard Branson has been failing a lot. So why I don't have to fail? You
Mm-hmm.
know?
Yeah, yeah, and definitely like one of our earliest traumas is that we are evaluated rather than accepted for who we are as kids. Like
Yeah.
once we get into the school system and like things that feel authentic to you suddenly get you bad grades in school and get you in trouble with your parents, and then that's when
Yeah.
we're choosing between being our authentic selves and receiving love from our caregivers and from our teachers.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just a slow process of disconnecting like more and more from our authentic selves because
Yeah.
we just want to receive love, and we think that we need to be a certain way in order to receive that love because
Yeah.
of all these rules and restrictions in the school system and society
Yeah.
in general.
That's interesting. So, did it ever come to you? Did it ever happen to you that while you are using psychedelics, some traumas came up and you had to deal with that?
Why am I using psychedelics? Sorry,
No, no. Did it ever happen to you that while you're having like a psychedelic experience, some traumas came up and you had to deal with that?
mm, like sorry, I'm having a hard time understanding. I think because
Okay.
it's raining here now and it's like really loud. But okay, what traumas did I feel like I needed to use psychedelics for? Or
No, no.
did
So let's say, did it ever happen to you that you had a psychedelic experience with ayahuasca or mushroom or whatever, and some traumas came up during the
oh
experience? Did it ever happen to you?
um something like that has happened to me, yes, but it wasn't my trauma. It was the trauma of like my ancestors.
Mm.
And it was very clear to me at the time that like it wasn't from my current life, like it wasn't from my childhood.
Yeah.
It was like the childhood of my mother and like maybe generations before her. And
Mm-hmm.
I could really feel that kind of like community support of my ancestors at that time.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's something that I've been struggling with because it does come up actually quite a bit for me of like knowing there has been like aspects of sexual abuse in my ancestors and not knowing how to release that at like in my body in my own process.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting though just to know that it does live in me even though I didn't directly experience it myself.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Wow. Wow. And how did you feel that? And how did you process all of this?
Sorry.
So how did you feel about it, and how did you process all of this information?
Um, how did I feel about it? I mean, I had some sort of idea about,
Mhm.
my mom's childhood,
Yeah.
and I knew that there had been misconduct essentially.
Hmm.
But she passed away just over 2 years ago, and I wasn't able to really have that conversation with her and
Hmm.
like know the details of what
Yeah.
happened. And
Hmm.
so when I had this experience, it was during an ayahuasca ceremony,
Hmm.
and it just really confirmed for me, like it was something that I already kind of knew, like I already had this inner knowing.
Yeah.
But it was just like confirming experience of that. And in terms of how I've processed it, I'm still trying to. This is like
Mm-hmm.
something that I'm still working through. And like only recently, this like a few months ago in January, I had this ayahuasca experience. So it's still very fresh, and
Yeah,
I'm sure it's something that I'm going to be trying to work through for maybe years to come. So,
yeah. So how was the ayahuasca experience compared to the mushroom?
how was the ayahuasca experience?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's been good. I think it just took me a while for the medicine to like really get into my system because the first few times I did ayahuasca, I was like, nothing's really happening for me. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
like what all the fuss is about. But I live like in Colombia in South America, so I was like, I'll just keep going because it's so accessible here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll like keep trying. And
Yeah.
yeah, like I think I've done it like 13 times now or so, and
How many?
definitely hmm?
How many times? Sorry?
13.
13 times ayahuasca.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Oh my God. And,
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just gonna turn the light on because it's really dark in here.
oh, yes,
One sec.
please.
Okay. Oh no, that's worse.
Awesome. Yeah,
Uh, I don't know. Okay. There we go.
that's better.
Better? Okay. Good, good, good.
Yeah. So then how was all of these experiences with ayahuasca? I mean, 13 times is quite a lot, you know. So tell me more about
Yeah.
that.
Well, that was over the course of like a year and a bit, like probably 14 months. But yeah, I guess that is a lot. That's like once a month.
I mean, in 14 months, you've done it 13 times.
Yeah, but often when I would do it like more than once. So I would go for like 2 nights, or the last time I did 4 ceremonies in a span of 5 days. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
it's really different when you live somewhere where it's happening all the time. Like
Uh-huh.
there's an ayahuasca ceremony almost every weekend, it feels like. So it's yeah, it's just very, very accessible here, and
Mhm.
yeah, it's also very cheap, like very inexpensive. Like
Yeah.
I don't know what to compare it to, but you can do an ayahuasca ceremony here for like the equivalent of $20 ish. So
$20 for
$20.
just one, like with accommodation included and food included, or just the experience?
Just for like one night ceremony. So like you could stay overnight at the Maloka. Like they give you like a mattress and a pillow and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so it's very accessible.
Interesting. And so you said you live in Colombia right now, right?
Yeah, I live in Medellin. Yeah, I've been
Wow.
here
And
just over two
what,
years.
that's interesting. What are you doing there?
That's a good question. Um, well, originally I came here just to travel. Like I just wanted to visit my friend who was living here and kind of yeah
Mhm.
explore a little bit.
Yeah.
But then after a few months, I realized I really enjoyed the culture and just yeah, the city in general is really beautiful. So
Mhm.
I found a job working in PR, basically just to get a visa to be able to live here.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was doing that for like about a year. I was working as an account manager for a PR company.
Uh-huh.
And that's when I really started working more with the psychedelics. And really, it's just kind of snowballed like very quickly for me to where I
Hmm.
am now. Like I quit my job in PR last August, and I'm already, working with people in this healing capacity and getting ready to start a psychedelic therapy training in June.
Hmm. Yeah.
So Oh shit.
So what type of psychedelic training are you going to do?
Sorry, you just cut out for a second. What did you say?
Yeah. So what type of psychedelic training are you going to do?
Yeah, so the psychedelic therapy training that I'm doing is with the Psychedelic Somatic Institute.
Mm-hmm.
And their training works primarily with cannabis because that's most widely legal right now. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to do this training in like a safe, legal way, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, but to be honest, like the videos that I've seen of the actual treatment is unlike anything I've seen before. Like I had no idea that cannabis had this much potential to
Mm-hmm.
work with trauma specifically. Like that's what this training is really about, is being able to release the trauma that's stuck in our bodies, like through a
Mm-hmm.
fully somatic experience, like without needing to talk about what happened and continue reliving that story. I don't know if you can hear the thunder in the background, but it's like
It is, yeah.
storming so hard right now. Yeah, it's rainy season here, so this is a regular occurrence.
That's interesting about cannabis. Like, to be honest, like lots of people say, "Oh, I take cannabis and I feel like bad, like I feel like paranoid, I feel like that," and
Mhm.
that's good. Like things are coming up, like things are finally coming up that we've been
Mhm.
hiding, and then they say, "I don't want to smoke again because it makes me feel this way." But I would say that's a gift. Every time we feel bad, and we can see that as a gift, as a, like a highlight. That's good. That's
Mhm.
always good, I would say. Because finally, you know what has been holding you back all your life. And finally, it's time, to get to understand this part of you and really like access to it and give a
Mhm.
chance.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think with cannabis, it is a slippery slope because there are a lot of people who abuse cannabis in the sense
Sure.
that they just take a bong rip to like zone out and like not really deal with anything going on in their life
Hmm.
and just to like take them out of their bodies essentially. And
Yeah.
I there was a period of my life where I was doing that, so I know that that
Mhm.
can happen.
Yeah.
And but it also, yeah, has this like amazing potential as a medicine, and it's just about yeah, using it with reciprocity and uh, yeah, just like respecting the cannabis in a way that like we're approaching it as yeah, a teacher, something to help us heal rather than
Yeah.
something to like take us out of our experience. So I
Yeah.
think, and yeah, it is, yeah, a very fine line to walk. And I understand that it's really hard for some people like to know like where the cutoff is.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's all about discernment really, and like knowing what feels right for us. So
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. No, I totally would say that cannabis is a really good medicine and
mhm.
can be used properly and can be used well. But it's interesting you're doing this therapy. You're learning about it. How does it work? That it takes like a few months, few years, and do you get certificate? You need to have like a psychology degree. How does it work?
um, yeah, so I don't actually have a psychology degree. I kind of mentioned this briefly, but I've been training in Gabor Mate's program. It's called
Mhm.
Compassionate Inquiry.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm training in right now. It's like a trauma approach. And I've taken a few other courses that are just, yeah, specific to plant medicine and healing.
Hmm.
And just based on those courses, I was able to apply for this psychedelic therapy training.
Yeah.
And like you have to have some level of experience, like whether it's like a body worker or like psychedelic guide or coach. yeah, they want you to have like some basis, but you don't have to have like a doctorate. And I think we're going to see that like more and more of these institutions really like respecting the fact that like not everyone is going that traditional educational route when it comes to psychedelics.
Yeah.
And like there's so much indigenous wisdom as well, like when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
psilocybin and ayahuasca, and like it wouldn't be fair to say that like people who have done that sort of work for years are not eligible to do this sort of training in the West if they want to, because clearly they're qualified. It's just not in the same, you know, sort of realm. Like it's a different sort
Mm-hmm.
of qualification. It's a like the school of life.
Yeah.
So that's also been a learning process for me of like trying to like let go of that kind of ego driven wanting like the letters behind my name and all of
Yeah.
that because that's
Mm-hmm.
really not important. Like what's important is, you know, your own experience, and
Yeah.
of course you need to have some sort of training, but it doesn't need to come from these like
Mm-hmm.
medical westernized approaches.
Yeah. So how do you find like the training from Gabor Mate, compassion inquiry?
Yeah, there's a website.
No, I mean, how did you find
Yeah,
it like
compa-
in terms of experience? Like, did you enjoy it? Like, did you learn
oh,
a lot? How was it?
yeah, yeah, I'm very much enjoying it. I'm still in it right now. It's a year-long program. It's very intense. Like it's very time-consuming.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're meeting with people every single week, and a big component of the course is practicing the modality like with other people in your cohort.
Okay.
So every single week, I'm practicing as both the therapist and the client. So it's a lot because you're doing so much of your own work. Like you're really digging into your own wounds and triggers. Like it's, yeah, like you're receiving therapy as well as learning how to
Wow.
administer the therapy. Yeah.
Wow. I've seen a Gabor Mate use a EFS. Do you use it as well?
Sorry?
Do you use the EFS,
The
internal family system? Do you use it for the kind of therapy that you're talking about?
the which system?
It's called the EFS. I'm sure you know it because Gabor Mate he always talks about it and he uses it as well. And probably you're using it. It's
E
EFS, internal family system.
IFS. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm actually learning about more and more right now, and
Mhm.
like um, reading like the yeah Richard Schwartz. I can't say his name. Richard Schwartz. His book, like on the intro to internal family systems,
Yeah.
and it's like a whole new way of framing like how we look at our minds and like the different parts communicating with
Mhm.
each other.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is like a lot of the work that I'm trying to do right now, like with my clients, is incorporating the IFS system in
Yeah.
addition to Gabor Mate's approach. Because yeah, he actually had Richard come and do like a guest webinar thing as part of the program. He often has other leaders in the field like come and teach us different things about yeah, grounding and embodiment and all of those
Yeah.
sorts of practices. Mm.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's something.
are you studying IFS as well?
Yeah, yeah. I'm studying IFS, even though like we use it, we might use it sometimes, for the microdosing possibility. But
Mm.
I will probably use it mostly, if with my clients because they also have access to do integration work with me. If let's say they're gonna have a psychedelic experience by themselves, they can always come to me and we're gonna do some integration work. And in that case, he told me, look, this came up. It's okay, let's work on that. And then I think it would be like a good tool to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Even though like they use EFS like with the medicine, with MDMA and with mushrooms, they do the therapy itself with with the medicines, which is
Mm-hmm.
really good because I found MDMA. I don't know if you are familiar with the medicine, but it really helps a lot to really like remove the blockages and to really like access to our true selves and then talk
Mm-hmm.
about it, which is different than like doing therapy on LSD or ayahuasca because you're so high and you don't want to talk, you want to go in. But with MDMA, it's way easier to talk about the stuff and feel love for whatever is happening. Like I want to give you like an example. I am so in love with techno, like techno, that kind of music. I'm so in love with it. And I've been in love with techno for like more than 7 years. And now I am understanding why I love techno so much because I used to take so much MDMA in clubs, and I just fell in love with with the environment, the music, and everything. And to be honest, I never liked techno before to actually take MDMA. I started to like it once I've done it. Then I said, okay, what if the opposite is it can work? Let's say, what if you fall in love with yourself? Let's say you do a session with MDMA and you decide to go within you and you decide to fall in love with yourself, to fall in love with your partner, to fall in love with nature. You can still do that. Like I did fall in love with techno. So I don't know. Are you familiar with MDMA and with the work that they do?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I haven't actually worked with MDMA in like a healing capacity,
Mm-hmm.
like kind of same as you. Like I used to really love like going out and dancing to like techno, house music,
Mm-hmm.
all of that. Like I lived in Amsterdam for a short time, so yeah, I was very into that scene.
Uh-huh.
And I had no connection like that the MDMA could actually serve as like a healing component. But obviously, I did feel so much love for like my friends, for the environment, for
Mm-hmm.
like the dancing, the music, whenever I was on MDMA.
Yeah.
So like it totally makes sense now that it is coming out as like a breakthrough treatment for like PTSD and depression right now. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm really excited to see where it goes and what these guided MDMA sessions will look like. Because
Mm-hmm.
obviously, it's such a different it's such a different approach than yeah going and listening to techno and
Totally.
yeah yeah. So I don't know.
Totally. And also, are you familiar with MAPS,
Mhm.
Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelics and
Mhm.
Studies? So they are mainly using MDMA in their therapies,
Mhm.
and probably is one of the best like therapy course that you can do is with MAPS. But they like ask for like a degree. You need to be like a psychotherapy.
Mhm.
So it takes a while, but that's super interesting the work that Rick Dublin is doing. To be
Mhm.
honest. And
Yeah.
yeah, do you have like any movies that you've seen or any documentary talk about psychedelics?
Any movies? So you said?
Any documentaries or movies that you've seen about psychedelics?
Uh, hmm. What did I watch recently? Recently I watched a documentary called Dosed,
Mm-hmm.
which I really enjoyed. Yeah, if it follows a girl in Vancouver who is like a heroin addict or meth addict,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, she starts working with mushrooms and then eventually iboga. And iboga is still very new to me. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know very much about it. Uh,
Yeah.
and it just blows my mind like how powerful it is for
Mm-hmm.
people who have these addictions that they
Yeah.
haven't been able to access in any other way, and then iboga just comes in and it's like
Yeah.
cleans you out of all of this, and it yeah
Yeah.
it's really fascinating. And I would love to learn more about iboga. I think I just go back
Yeah.
and I go back and forth of like this debate of like going wide or going narrow on like a few different psychedelics
Yeah.
to really like get to know on a deep
Mhm.
level.
Yeah.
And of course, I want to know like a little bit about all of them, but in terms of like building my own relationship,
Yeah.
uh, like I really am focused on mushrooms at least at this time, and like that could change over the course of my life, of course.
Yeah.
Like who knows? But especially if I'm gonna do this training with cannabis, like I really want to focus on building a better relationship with cannabis because I don't feel connected to it right now.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, like Iboga just seems really powerful, and I would definitely recommend that Dosed documentary to anyone
Nice.
who's curious about, yeah, the healing therapeutic potential of these substances. And then
Interesting.
another favorite, I guess, would just be Fantastic Fungi.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that one, everyone loves that one, even if you're not really into psychedelics. Like,
Yeah. But doesn't talk
yeah.
much about psychedelics, only at the end a little bit. But it's mostly about the power of like the mushrooms.
Hmm.
Anyway, Samet is like an awesome man. He does lots of research, so really nice
Hmm.
documentary. To be
Hmm.
honest, there is one that I saw recently, and to be honest, I fall in love with this one. So if you have the chance, please watch it. It's not possible to find it for free, so you might need to pay it, but
Hmm.
it's worth it. Believe me, it's worth it. So the name is Journey at the Edge of the Consciousness.
Oh, I actually think I might have. Is that the one that's animated and it has like
Mhm.
the voiceovers with Gabor Mate and a few other
Correct.
people? Yeah,
Correct.
okay. Yeah, I did see that.
Correct.
I did see that.
You saw it?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
saw
I
it
saw
all
it.
of it.
Yeah, I rented it a while ago, like on, yeah, I paid for it
Okay.
online.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. To be honest, he's probably one of the best. Also because he's Gabor Mate there, which is like one of my best mentors, and he talks beautifully about psychedelics. And it's also interesting to know the story about Timothy Leary and outbreaks and Alan Watts. That is super cool. And I think this documentary must be watched like several times because there are some specific things that the guy says that really at least hit it on me. Really, really good one, to be honest.
Mm.
I don't know, you're familiar with 5-MeO DMT?
No, to be honest, I've never tried DMT. It's one of those things that's on my list to
Yeah.
eventually, but it's not a level that I feel like I'm ready for necessarily or like
Mhm.
even interested in at this point.
Yeah.
Like yeah, it's something in the back of my mind, but
Mhm.
I don't know very much about it.
Mhm. But you have done DMT because DMT is basically an ayahuasca.
Right. Yeah, okay.
So,
The DMT component in ayahuasca, yes, but I've never like done just DMT, like honest, like Bufo, for example.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, like
What's your experience with it?
me neither. I haven't done neither ayahuasca, neither DMT. It's something that we might get started in the next few months. Like
Mm.
right now, I'm mastering LSD, which to be honest is probably a wonderful tool, wonderful, wonderful, if used properly. And it's
Mhm.
really easy to access to it and to use it and also to travel with it. You can put LSD anywhere. Like you can really travel anywhere. I can come to you right now and bring to you 9 cups, because
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
just
that's
space
so
right
true.
now. So that's so good to use it like LSD. I've been working a lot with mushrooms in the last 2 years. Now I'm mostly mastering LSD, and probably like DMT is gonna be the next one I wanna focus a little bit on. Also because I heard about microdosing with ayahuasca, so I wanna know what is happening there. I wanna see
Mhm.
how the it feels and things like that. I've been
Mhm.
working a little bit with ketamine. Are you familiar with ketamine?
With ketamine?
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Have you
Um,
ever used it in a therapeutical way?
I I've tried ketamine like once, but it was
Mhm.
not. in a healing capacity.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good medicine. Like depends what you need to do. Like it can be really good. Like it's really good to relax your body and to really be in the body. So let's say if you know you're gonna have sex or you're gonna have a massage or you're gonna use your body in some kind of place,
Hmm.
which is like a relaxing way, that's
Hmm.
probably good ketamine. And also like to do, also to remove these blockages is amazing. Like I really go through some therapy, but I would say high doses with, if you have to do therapy. But microdosing with ketamine, if you have these benefits for the body, different.
Mm. Okay. Is that something
Yeah.
that you do? You microdose with ketamine?
When it happens the opportunity, let's say a massage or I'm going to have some kind of sex experience, I'm gonna do
Hmm.
that.
Okay.
But
Cool.
yeah, in case not, might happen once a month or maybe once every 3 months. It depends. But even that is easy to travel with ketamine as well because like you can create like a case spray. You put the ketamine into a spray and distill the water, and that's basically like something that you use for the nose, and that's it.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So lots of
Interesting.
tricks that you will learn with the psychedelic world. So
Hmm.
yeah, LSD is still on my top. And it's so cool to know that LSD has been created like immediately after they found like the atomic bomb, and they created LSD like Mr. Hoffman created LSD to create something opposite to the atomic bomb. Let's say these fucking guys are creating an atomic bomb, I'm gonna try to create an atomic love. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
But unfortunately, they misused it because like Timothy Leary, like he talked a lot about LSD, as you know, but it wasn't so positive because lots of people used it improperly. They didn't use
Hmm.
it properly, and they did lots of things that wasn't right because you cannot use it without
Hmm.
preparation, without setting, right, integration, as Gabor Mate says. So this is the problem, the medicines
Hmm.
not using them with wisdom.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And
Yeah.
where are you living right now?
So I am
Which
in
could
Madeira Island, which is like in Portugal. Second island
ah.
in Africa.
Hmm.
I'm based in Lisbon, but
Okay.
because of the lockdown and everything that is happening there, I decided to move in this beautiful island. So I don't feel a
Mm.
lockdown because I stay in nature every day. I hike and I go to the beach. It's a beautiful place. It's even warmer than Lisbon. I will stay here for a few months, probably until June, and then I will be back in Lisbon. It's got lots of work to do, lots of events, lots of workshops, you have retreats that you're running. We do like 2 to 3 retreats, like in Portugal, and a few other retreats around the world, Nepal, Jamaica, and probably Bahamas. We want to do them there. So yeah, we are
Nice.
just waiting for the COVID to back off, and we're gonna fly.
Awesome.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that's sweet. Because yeah,
yeah.
Portugal is has like really relaxed regulations, right, on psychedelics. Like nothing is illegal there, right? Is that right?
Mhm. Yeah, basically, most substances are decriminalized, so you won't go to jail if they catch you with that. But of course, like it's not
Mm.
legal, but you won't have any issue. So
Right.
that's fine. Yeah, we can play still around with the nose and things like that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
But
that's cool.
let's just wrap up quickly. And honestly, it has been a beautiful pleasure talking to you. You're such a
Hmm.
beautiful soul. And I would love to connect with you more. And we can talk more about these kind of trainings that about EFS or IFS or compassion inquiry, which
Yeah.
never matter what. And yeah, let's keep it in touch. And
Hmm.
I really wish you like the best luck in your life.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was a really nice little chat, and I'm glad that we got a chance
Yeah.
to do this. But
You're
yeah,
very
we'll talk
welcome.
soon.
So have an amazing day and yeah, all the best. Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much.
You're
Bye.
welcome. Bye bye.